Welcome to the Coast to Coast podcast, brought to you by Play Picks and the Lines. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And it's time for the player props video we love to bring you each and every weekday. Nate and me, but definitely Nate, are red hot right now on these player props. Make sure you check out Nate's great article up on playpicks.com as well with some of those best bets and player props. And like and subscribe to that page. Got a couple other videos on this small Thursday night slate for you, looking at some best bets and game lines in those ones as well. And as always, if you do still need a FanDuel or DraftKings account, head to fdpicks.com or dkpicks.com and find those listings in your area, such as these player props we got for tonight. Nate, let's get into it.
Yeah, we nailed it with Russ Westbrook. We nailed it with LaMelo Ball. And now we're trying to stick with a superstar point guard in Steph Curry. Not really going out on a limb when you back this guy, but the Nuggets did contain him in the last matchup here 2 nights ago. Held him to 23 points on 6 for 16 field goal shooting, which I guess is why we're getting him so low at 27.5 points. But that's pretty silly right now, considering he's averaging 34 with a 36% usage rate in his last 5 games, with a couple key other scorers out due to protocol here. I think you look at what Steph does after a loss this season, and it's very much a game-by-game basis, but it fluctuates between like a 35-point game and a 25-point game, whether they're playing Orlando or OKC after that loss. But the average is 28 points. The average is 6 threes. And those are his props tonight with plus money on the threes. And I talked about in the game video how Denver is giving up the most 3-pointers in their last 5 home games at a 41% clip, giving up 116 points per game. Monte Morris and Austin Rivers are both questionable tonight. If either or both of them sit, that just opens things up more for Steph. It's not like either of those guys are Steph stoppers. It's not like Mike Malone has some sort of formula to stop Steph. He probably just looked in the mirror after that and said, you know what, I got to shoot more here. We only scored 86 points and we lost. So I would just expect him to come out and fire. And yeah, even with those poor numbers against Denver last time out, he's averaging 32 and shooting 47% from deep against Denver. And hitting nearly 6 threes per game in his last 5 against Denver, that is. So he's not fearing this matchup. He doesn't necessarily struggle on the road. He's the greatest shooter of all time, and I think the Warriors are going to win. So 30 points in a win is plus 280 at FanDuel as well. Not really as risky a bet here as the triple-doubles we hit the last couple times out. But those player performance doubles, I think we will continue to hit on that one tonight.
Yeah, and it was a tale of 2 halves in that other game the other night, the first matchup for these 2 teams. The first half was all entirely the Nuggets. Second half and that fourth quarter specifically, where Steph went 4 for 5 from 3. I expect that to continue. I think they figured something out, as I mentioned in that other game video. I do think that the Warriors figured something out against the Nuggets, and it took mostly the fact that Draymond Green wasn't playing in that game, and that first half was a huge difference for the Dubs and what they're used to. Draymond does so much on both ends of the floor. He's probably not going to play in this one, almost definitely not going to play in this one. But I think they're used to that now after one half of having to make up for that. And like you said, 4 for 5 in the fourth for Steph. I think he won't wait for that fourth quarter to start chucking threes like that. And you could see about 15 attempts from him in this game, which makes you feel really good about him hitting more than 5. So always will back you on a Steph prop, especially in a night like tonight. I'm going to move on to a prop that I love because it's Joel Embiid playing against a Brooklyn Nets team that, as good as they are on defense, they don't have any answer for him, as has been the case in the last couple seasons when Embiid's playing the Nets. His points prop tonight is at 26.5. I don't really like the 76ers to win this game on the road in Brooklyn, so I'm not really looking at any of those performance doubles. I'm not as concerned about getting those rebounds in because I do think 27 points for him is what they're going to need to even keep this game close, to be honest, as he's been the bulk of their offense as of late. And as I mentioned, in his last 3 dating back to last season versus the Nets, averaging almost 31 points, more than 11 boards, a about 3 assists a game. And then, that's indicative of also what he's done in his last 5, as this team has been, really relying on him more than ever in that span. He's averaging 33, 10.5 boards, 3.5 assists on 55, 44, 87 splits. Really, really good splits for him in those last 5 as well. Really efficient, and getting to the line 12 times a game, making 10 of those. So, as mentioned in the other video as well, when he's getting 10 free throws a game, I got to like him to be able to score another 16, 17 points in the rest of the game when his usage rate is up about 33%. So, expect him to get those free throw attempts and points in the paint, as Brooklyn is bad in both of those areas on defense, bottom 10 in giving up opponents free throw attempts, and in the bottom half of opponent points in the paint. So Embiid should eat tonight. He should get over that 27 points. I like him to get 30, to be honest. And like I said, just staying away from getting any extra juice on that, as I still get about minus 110 on my money there, and I don't really feel comfortable with needing Philly to pull this one out to get extra juice there.
Yeah, Lord knows they're going to need it from him. And that is why the Sixers play so slow on the road, is because they want to play through Embiid. They want to just throw it into the big man and see what he can generate in the post. And that is the one place they have an advantage here over the championship favorite Nets. So I would expect his usage rate to be way up tonight, and that's a good call. And on the other side of the ball, I think we're also getting value on James Harden, despite his big numbers recently, because Durant's coming back. But
yeah,
I don't think Durant is necessarily, he probably would relish the opportunity to relinquish some of those duties to Harden after what he did in 6 games before the Nets had to shut it down as a team. It was flashbacks to that Bucks series where he was playing every position, and it was Kevin Durant versus the Bucks. And he just did that. He dragged some young guys, some G League guys, to 4 out of 5 wins. It's just incredible. But now he's got Harden, and Harden is cooking again. And the barometer for Harden is always the free throw attempts. He's getting 37.5 points and 12.5 assists in 2 games out in LA. He got 14 free throw attempts against the Lakers, and now we're up to 42 free throw attempts in his last 4 games, an average of 11 in his last 7 home games, along with 24 points. Philly is giving up the 9th highest percentage of points off free throws over the last week. So it's a case where Harden would love to stick it to Daryl Morey and the Sixers after the way things ended there in Houston. He was in that Ben Simmons purgatory for a minute too, I'm sure. Did not really appreciate that, even though Morey apparently keeps trying to angle to trade for Harden again and pair him with Embiid. But Harden did come out with that aggressive mindset and posted a 35% usage rate in the first meeting with Philly this season. The difference is now he's getting the calls. He's figuring out the points of emphasis. The points of emphasis are lapsing to a degree. They're no longer targeting Trae Young. You're seeing the same thing. They're actually getting their free throws again, and that has opened up their entire offensive game. So now that he has that ability, he can actually exact some revenge. And 33.5 points and assists is just too low, regardless of the situation, the matchup, of the narrative. The Beard, like I said, is averaging 50 points and assists since coming off the COVID list. And he feels like he's back, and he certainly seems to be back. So I would expect him to smash that total right now.
So just to be clear, his 33.5 is points and assists combined.
That's it, yeah.
Points and assists combined. Got it, yeah. And then he's averaging 50 points, rebounds, and assists since coming back.
No, he's averaging 50 points and assists. It's 59 with the rebounds.
Jeez.
Yeah, 38 points and 12 assists in those 2 games out in LA.
Wow. Okay, got it. Yeah, that's an absurd number. I would expect that to maybe, the points to recede a bit, to your point, but, not enough to, if it's all the way down to 33.5, KD coming back isn't going to mean that he necessarily even gets less assists. Maybe his usage rate goes down a bit, but I still think he can get those 24 points and definitely 10 assists, like you're saying. So, yeah, I'll follow you on the Beard there. And then I'm going to finish this off with the current favorite for Rookie of the Year as he's moved his way up. That is Franz Wagner on the Orlando Magic. And yes, I'm taking Orlando Magic player because we need to talk about Franz for a minute. And it's all due to the fact that, Cole Anthony's been missing games he's missed 4 of their last 5. And, there's a bunch of other guys that are the young guys for Orlando that continue to be out. And Franz Wagner is the only thing they have left. Their entire season at this point seems like it's basically get Franz Wagner, the Rookie of the Year, get get him into a place where next year we can start to talk about him as a legitimate, fringe all-star player in the East and try to make him an all-star by his third or fourth season. And I think it's all about the development of him tonight. So 19.5 points, I would just keep it simple there because you get even money back there. It's plus 100 for him to do that on FanDuel. And they're playing Milwaukee again for the second straight game. Last game, just a simple 38 points in 38 minutes for Franz on a 31.5% usage rate with an offensive rating individually of 122.5. And, that's indicative of what he's been doing, as I mentioned, since Cole Anthony's been hurt. In his last 5, he's up to 34 minutes a game. He's up to a usage rate of about 27%, which jumped from the 18% usage rate it was previous to that on the season, with 22.6 boards and 2.5 assists in that time frame. The 19.5 points is too low. I mean, this game, the last game they played actually ended up being a lot closer than we thought, even though the Bucks jumped out to about a 25-point halftime lead in the first half there, and the Magic were able to come back and get this game actually inside of double digits at one point before it ended right around there. And even if it does end up as a blowout again tonight, and the Magic aren't able to come back, Franz is playing garbage time. He's playing starting time. He's playing bench minutes. He's just playing all the time right now. And as I mentioned, 38 minutes a game. He's going to get plenty of run, and with that usage rate at above 31.5%, I gotta like him to get those 20 points. Against a team that's probably not even going to take them that seriously tonight, right?
Deep cuts from the NBA aficionado here. We go Franz Wagner for the last prop pick of the night. Sure. I mean, if you're familiar with the NBA and you want to follow Josh on that, if you don't want to do the research and you want a simpler bet, I would say just take the Bucks to score 116 points tonight and not worry. I mean, the only reason we didn't put a Bucks player here is because you're not sure how much the starters are going to need to play or which of their big 3 is going to go off. But they're just going to stomp this Magic team that's missing 12 guys. And yeah, hopefully that leads to some buckets for Franz in garbage time. But it certainly should lead to about 120 points for Milwaukee once again in this match.
That's fine. I mean, yeah, and if you don't like Franz as your Wagner tonight, you could take Moritz as well. His brother actually has a higher usage rate in their last 5. I might be losing some people here, but still, Franz Wagner 20 points tonight. Go ahead and jump on it. That is all the time we have in this player props video for you today. Make sure you do like and subscribe to that page. Got a couple other videos up for you today, and we will be back with another player props video and gift card opportunity for you guys tomorrow on Friday's show. So until we see you next, happy betting.